little bit about Kathleen Kennedy, more on the Variety article. As soon as one of my wrenches gets here, I will have him put the article in the chat. So if anybody's in the chat, they can look at it and follow along. When I first read the article of the guy, I sent it to Tom and Andre and Cameron on, and I had a few other people read it. It's literally explaining how things are changing at Disney. And it's literally one of those things where you have to know the players. We know that. Howdy, Cinedave. We know that. Alan Horn is leaving. Alan Horn is one of Kennedy's closest connections. Iger's out. All the rest of that. On and on and on and on. The bird was it? It's not Alan Braverman. Alan Braverman is the head of Disney Legal. Happy old redneck nerd. I think it's David or something like David Bergman is basically going to be the head of the studios, the top guy who answers only to Bob Chapek. They're going to concentrate on distribution, and distribution will take precedence over, howdy Matt Piranha, will take precedence over creative. Now, creative people are going, no. Yeah, remember where, we had all the creative people and they turned, Star Wars into two dykes at the end of the third installment of their crappy trilogy, macking on each other at the end of the movie, because that's what it is. And it was gross because they were both extremely ugly women. Not that anybody wants to see that anyway, but I don't want to see it in a kid's show. Okay, that's just me. And according to Pablo Hidalgo and the rest of them, it's a kid's show. All right? And you just have to, whatever. Anyway, so that's a big thing because it looks to me that, here's the deal. Hey, Trayla. What you're going to see is you will see some woke things coming out. But it'll be phased out. And the reason simply is this. You got a book that's being written. It's already a year into the project. It's being printed, bound, cover art's ready. They got to print it. Okay, they have to put it out there. Same thing with the movie. You've got, this is the example that Andre came up with. You had Birds of Prey come out between, I can't remember the first movie he mentioned. Between Deadpool and, or start its development, start actually being put together to where it could, they're not going to quit filming. Between Deadpool and female Ghostbusters. Okay, so we are going to see some of this stuff, but I do agree with Latino Slant and Polly that I think it's going to start going away. And the reason is, here's the deal. All right, they won't be able to push things that wouldn't make any money that have an agenda, because the doors they have to open up are the money people, are the distributors, are the people that go, will this make people want to sign up for Disney Plus? Will it make them want to go put their butts in a theater seat? Is it going to make people buy merchandise? Okay. And I'm really interested in seeing how this plays out. So Cameron basically says that he thinks definitely that Kennedy's on her long vacation, that she's really not there anymore, and that if you look at the article that I talked about it yesterday, and if you were on Midnight Edge, you know what he said about it, was that it was just laying the groundwork, and it was really all about Lucasfilm, that they will have to answer to the numbers people, just like they did back in the day when John Ford was known as Jack Ford, and they'd give him a week to film one of his short, hour and 20-minute westerns, and he's on day 6, and they're behind, and so he's looking at the script and trims it down by 5 or 6 scenes that they just don't have the time to film. They're going to be responsible for what they put out there, and I really think that this is probably going to help. Now, about The Heart of the Jedi. First off, it's a good book. Well, again, until we get actual confirmation, and thank you for that, old redneck nerd. I really appreciate that. It's Ronald Reagan once said, "It doesn't matter who gets the credit," and he was right. I mean, this has been a team effort. I think a bunch of really brilliant people, and I'm the least brilliant of all of them, getting together and trying to decipher what's out there. Case in point, Heart of the Jedi. I did not think this. I did not see this, and I didn't put it together till Doomcock said what he said, and then Cameron added his 2 cents. Okay. You could not get that book bound on-demand publishing at Amazon.com if you were just a nudge. Okay. There was somebody big behind it. Now, when Doomcock said Jon Favreau was alerted to it by Dave Filoni, and I'm going to say this, Dave Filoni and Pablo Hidalgo don't talk anymore. Dave Filoni doesn't go into the offices at Lucasfilm anymore. Okay? They don't like each other. Okay? Pablo Hidalgo is the fucking story group. How do you embarrass them? How do you make them look bad? I got one, and I wish I would have gotten more. How do you make them look bad? This was literally a gift. Now, it was online. You could read the PDF. Fine. This was a bound paperback novel that looked exactly like every other EU book in existence, with no fucking Legends banner on it, by the way. I absolutely now see where it could be Favreau behind this. And humiliating the story group. Absolutely humiliating them. And it was there. People bought it. People realized it was there. They were scarfing up copies. It never left. That book, I don't think, was lower than 70 on the top 100 of Amazon. We could go back right now and see where Light of the Douchebag is, the Charles Soule dumpster fire is. And it's probably about 3,900 and whatever. Okay. We could, you know what I'm saying? This was a direct fuck you by somebody to the story group. And it wasn't some disgruntled fan. Because it looks now to me, maybe John 42 could get you a copy, Dave. Just a hint. He's got 4. I only have 1. It was there and gone. Okay, it was gone. And everybody just assumed that Disney took it down. Disney didn't take it down. It did what it was supposed to, and now it's gone. Okay, see how that worked? See? Someone's playing 4D chess for keeps. And when Doomcock said what he said, and Cameron said, I really kind of believe it. You know, the nice guy image, and, you know, you can be a nice guy and still be a cutthroat, Machiavellian strategy, too. Okay, that'd be great. Why don't you put that? Oh, shit. I would say if I had the link, I would have one of you guys put it in the chat, one of my blue wrenches, but I don't have the link on me. But I think it was somebody who wanted to make a point and wanted to humiliate the story group. Now, you can't find anybody in the story group bitching about Heart of the Jedi. You can't. But you know goddamn well that they're in their DMs freaking out about it. Because whoever it was drove a point home. No one wants to read your shit. No one likes it. It's garbage. This isn't the way the Star Wars should go. Please go away now. Okay, so let's go further. We got that. We've got this article out there basically mapping out how, and Cameron said if Alan Horn is leaving, Kennedy's gone. She's leaving too. That's because the article is about how they're getting rid of her, and she has to know that. It ended up in the trades as a very subtle thing. I'm pretty sure Bob Chapek said, run with it, do it. He's playing 4D chess too. But what else happened? We're suddenly seeing Gina toys everywhere. Her Bear Grylls episode's now back on. She's, on Star Wars Day, she was posting photos of her toys. She does a lot of stuff with the Cara Dune things. We got the rumor, and again, this has not been verified by anybody, by the guys at Midnight's Edge. But Doomcock did report that she's been seen on the set of The Mandalorian. And I'm going to add this. If you all remember, I thought the Emmy nomination too. I wouldn't doubt that the Thank You Bob on April Fool's Day. Remember that? I bet you $1,000 she was told by somebody that Disney was going to put her up for an Emmy award. All right, I guarantee you, Bob Iger is in the middle of this. Okay, when he saw the backlash at Kennedy, and he realized that she's fucking his legacy up. Again, who wins the ego war? You know, who wins the ego war? He does, okay? He does. And I'm sure he was not thrilled, you know, Gina being told they didn't want her around anymore, that she was being a racist. I mean, it's almost as though Pablo's wife actually wrote that fucking thing in Deadline Hollywood. And then you go, and you're looking around again, and you're like, you know, what is this about? What is going on here? And, you know, when Gina put that picture out there, that was a thank you for probably sticking up for her, okay? Again, I like Gina. I don't want her to be in the conservative ghetto with Kevin Sorbo and John Voight and James Woods. I mean, two fantastic actors, by the way. No reason for them not to be ahead of the curve right now, or not to be out there working. It is degrading and disgusting that those two guys, because they don't follow the Wokistanian bullshit. John Boyd is a true liberal. And, Richard Dreyfuss himself has tried to stop the infighting, the arguing, and the name calling. And he is not conservative. And they blackballed him and tried to Me Too him. It's just very interesting to me watching how all this is playing out now. All right, you got all that stuff going on. You've got the Forbes article. You've got Gina coming back, or Gina's episode, the Bear Grylls episode. You've got her toys reappearing. You've got the Disney itself wanting to nominate her for an Emmy Award. You got this latest article from Variety, and Kennedy is nowhere to be seen. Nowhere at all. And Disney needs Star Wars to be successful. They can't afford it. They were $600 million in the hole last quarter. It was a very frank, kind of boring discussion yesterday. I listened to the tail end of it. I was massively shocked by that loss of money. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money a company that's up, I think, $100 billion in debt can't afford. Okay? Their stocks went down. Duh. Of course they would. Duh. And of course, they've got the problem where they're not getting the subscribers anymore for Disney Plus. And it's really interesting how they talked about that, didn't talk about anything else, and the only thing Star Wars related was Mandalorian. That's it. That is all Bob said. And we've got Pablo seemingly playing nice on Twitter. Let's go back and see. Yeah, well, we're not talking politics here, so the pipeline thing sucks, but I'm not really, nothing I can do about it anymore. So, I can't, we had our chance to do something when they were counting the votes on the 6th of January. And, our own party, the Republican Party, didn't do anything. So, fuck them. It's my opinion. And I'm sticking to it. Okay. So go back on his Twitter page. Okay, so Sofia Coppola's birthday. It's Bob Zemeckis' birthday. Oh, wow. So he wished, he remembered Lucas's birthday. He's sucking up. He needs to go. God, what a jackass. And that's all he's been doing, but yeah, this is, how long ago did Sofia Coppola, Robert Zemeckis, and George Lucas. So yeah, that's it. That's what he's got up there. Let's see. Kay Hidalgo. All right. This is all just 50. Oh, she's talking to my. Here's a da 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 da. Chuckles Wendick. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. Geek host Amanda. Okay, and she's got her fucking whatever's on. Okay, let's try missing words. Matt Martin. He hasn't been on for a day. Say, and everyone, and he's talking about Weezer. Brother. Trash band. Anyway, that's all I got. That's it. That's it. Pablo's public, nicey nice Twitter is just so trickly sweet it makes me want to vomit. Because you know he hates doing it. It's really generic. His wife's is really generic. You don't think there's something going on? Oh yeah, they're terrified. They are fucking terrified. Kennedy's out. They're next. And with her not being there to protect him, you bet your sweet bippy he's scared. And he should be scared. All right? This is big. This is what he is earning right now is the karmic blowback and the collected anger of millions of fans that have been used, abused, called names. I think whoever they have, I think Cameron basically didn't say it out loud, but he's implying that it's going to be Favreau. If it is, we're fine. I mean, we're going to get really, really, really good stuff. We're getting stuff we like. I mean, the fact that if it was him that behind the lovely The Heart of the Jedi book coming out on Amazon, that was genius. That was genius. And it just, I mean, you know, I really like the fact that when you go through Hidalgo's public Twitter account, it's all Star Wars now. When before he got himself into trouble the second time, he was attacking people politically. He was attacking people for hating the sequel trilogy. He was calling them names. You know, no, they're not looking for a checkbox. I think they're done with that. I think, you know, the fact that Bob Iger was the one that freaked out when he found out that someone had leaked those documents about try to stop being so white about in the parks. It was Bob Iger that freaked out publicly. I think Chapek probably said, we're not doing this anymore. Now, we don't know if they're not. But the fact that the documents disappeared is an indicator that they were embarrassed. And that's a good thing. Because, hey, you know what? If you keep doing it anyway, it's going to come out you're doing it. And the documents will come out again. So you might as well quit and leave people alone. Now, this Wokistanian garbage was involving only the parks. But they do have that Department of Diversity, etc., etc. And I think being president of Lucasfilm, they've got that Momita Sengupta there and they've got Michelle Redjwan. I don't think that Jon will have to just sit in the office all day and do that kind of thing. It's going to be very interesting how this plays out. Yeah, you want him to be on the set. You want him to be. You want someone who's that creative and somebody who loves the franchise as much as he does to be part of the creative process through everything. And I, kind of think that the bullshit nepotism will go. Now, he is linked to Steven Spielberg. If you go and look at the executive producer for Cowboys and Aliens, it was Steven Spielberg. All right. So they know each other. But I don't think it's the same kind of relationship that Spielberg had with J.J. Abrams. So I don't think, and it's definitely not the same relationship that Spielberg has had with Kennedy. Jon has kind of just come up on his own with the help of, like under the tutelage of Kevin Feige. But he was the one that did Iron Man. He was the one that kicked off the MCU. It wasn't anybody else. So there you go. And that was the only movie I liked in that genre, packages. I'm not like I said, I'm not a comic book person, so I don't understand what the big deal is, why. Like the guys were talking today about comic books, and the industry is dead. It is dead. I can't believe Disney's even wasting money on Marvel doing Star Wars comic books. They don't sell, which is a good excuse to PNG the writers and the artists. All of these Wokistanians. And it'll be very interesting the next couple of months. So when did that article, all right, when was Gina fired? February? And the Forbes article came out in March. And now this thing came out yesterday or the day before in May. I would say July, maybe June. We'll find out some more about what's going on. I think the rumors are going to get worse. And if you notice something, let's go back to Pablo and the story group. Rewriting Ripley has disappeared. They left Twitter. They're not, I don't think they're on Twitter, at least from what Mazer said, they're not anywhere around. Okay, so what does that mean exactly? They were caught. And I've always said this, there's enough circumstantial evidence to run an investigation to find out where it started, who is really behind it, and then, go on from there. It's going to be very interesting to me just in the next few months, because I guarantee it, we are going to find out who's behind that. I mean, Michelle Buckman, probably. And they're not on YouTube either. Okay. They got scared and ran. I'm sure Jeremy Hambley and the rest of the guys, Gary and the rest, were like, scared the shit out of those girls. Do I think, I'd like to see Robert Rodriguez do a Han Solo origin story. I really would. I'd like to see him do something like that. I'd like to see, Michelle Deborah Chow is doing Obi-Wan Kenobi. And despite the whining and screaming about Kennedy, you know, I gotta tell you guys something. When someone says, well, she's still listed as the president, so, ugh. Really? And where is she? Where's she been? You know, where has she been? I want one of these flaming retards to explain to me where's Kathy been? Because she's not there anymore. You know, you don't have to believe it, but when you sit there and say something like that, and then, you know, use the obvious, well, she's still listed as President Lucasfilm. Yeah, Robert Rodriguez is doing Boba Fett. I'd like to see Bryce Dallas Howard do more Star Wars. That would be interesting, but I'd rather do an origin story. And kind of PNG the garbage that we got. Because Solo was so bad, and it hurt the character even more than what they'd already done to it. And the fact that it was absolutely not consistent at all with who he is Han Solo mad. Well, no, not just that. Hi, Gingerbread Man. It's not just the right actor, it's got to be the right script. I would like to see him long before. I would like to see him trying to make his way in the world. Hey, Bobby. As. Oh, you're right, John 42. You're right. Make his way after he got honorably discharged from the Imperial Navy. I would like to see that. I would like to see him. What happened before? Hey, Maze would be is interesting, but it's sort of a background story that you can have him tell. But I would really like to see him and have Nar Shaddaa being the. It's okay, Troy. Nar Shaddaa being the focal point. Smuggler's Moon. You know, we get to hear about all these things, and how did Han become this kind of a feared gunfighter? Okay, because when you look at the EU and Tales from the Mos Eisley Cantina, I mean, there were two Rhodian bounty hunters who were going after Greedo who thought, we'll just let Solo take care of him, because they knew he would. That's pretty big. That says something about the character. I want to know who that guy was. I don't give two shits about Alden Ehrenyuk. Hail, Daryl. It'll be, I would like to see that. And they could do it digital animation and it would be fine, or get Anthony Ingruber, get the right actors, do it in a real Western sense to where you're not going, and no Enfys Nest and Quira and Pando Lando and all the rest of that shit that Star Wars doesn't need. And then that you could put that, have a series like that up alongside Kenobi. Watch, all 6 episodes of Kenobi. Then people could be able to binge watch the new Solo and call it something. Come up with the name of it. Just call it Solo, and then each episode has a name, like New Arrival, or the opening hour-long episode, The Wayfarer. Okay, a bar. Okay, And then you go on from there. You'd have the Book of Boba Fett, and everything would make. Oh, yeah, it was. I mean, my God, you had everything in front of you. And the idea that Kennedy was so stupid she didn't know there was any you, you know? No, it's not going to be that. Stop it, Daryl. Okay? Stop it. This is actually trying to save and rehab the character because they fucking trashed him. And Lando. And we didn't get anything that was useful for explaining anything else. All right? We didn't get any. That origin story was a paint by numbers fan fiction. All right? You know, you start out by hiring the wrong directors. Nepotism dictates you hire a really bad writer. And his dad, who, after The Force Awakens came out, looked around and said, "Are we really going to do a Star Wars, a solo movie now?" You know, you know, and then you've got, Pando Lando. You hire the wrong, you know. Oh, they're great. I mean, I, you're right about that, Daryl. I've got the Brian Daley trilogy, and I've got the 3-book trilogy by A.C. Crispin. There's a lot there. But there's, if you want to do one about the bounty hunters, you could do one called Bounty Hunters. Okay. You could do one, like you could even follow Tales from Jabba's Palace. Good, Troy. That's awesome. And you should do that. Will it get? I don't know. There are a lot of, like yesterday, it was Sci-Fi for You, and Jason basically said, that he thought The Acolyte would never be made. I think there's probably quite a few TV shows right now that they're doing that, or they say they're doing that I don't think can be made. I think what they're doing right now is concentrating on what they've got coming up. They're still filming the Book of Boba Fett, which I thought was already in the can, which leads me to think that maybe Doomcock's person was right, and that Gina is gonna show up in Boba Fett. It's all very interesting to me how, like I said, all these big things going on are saying something's happening. Well, I thought of a way of introducing Mara Jade that wasn't so, I mean, it wasn't ham-fisted and Heir to the Empire, but I thought about Mara Jade as being a foundling, because I agree with George Lucas about keeping Luke just a Jedi. I think the Mara Jade thing was more to assuage fans who want a romance for him. I want to see more from Mayfeld too. I really, really do. And I gotta say, I know a lot of you guys like Mara Jade, but when I look at that, the later books after Thrawn, and how the ham-fisted way her and Luke got together, I was just like, it kind of felt like Raylo. Okay, it didn't. There's a way to have Mara Jade in the show without that. But I am not married to the EU to that extent. There are lots of good stories. It was in the comics. All right. I just can't. I mean, it just it didn't feel right. It didn't feel organic. It didn't feel natural. And Luke being a Jedi, it didn't feel like it went along with his character. You know, Obi-Wan had Satine. It didn't work out. All right, what are you guys saying? I don't really know. I'm just looking at the chat right now. But yeah, that was fine. But I think her being a foundling is really interesting. Being a young, like 8-year-old girl that they discover, and she's like along Grogu, the new another Padawan for Luke to train, and just to have her as a Jedi, a natural Jedi that came up as a kid, an orphan. You could actually kind of repeat the Rey story, but we'd all know who she was because we know who her family was. So there wouldn't be that stupid shit. Yeah, it was pretty clever, but I really kind of want to stay away from stuff like that. I think they should. I think Star Killer being Vader's apprentice is kind of what? But then when you look at George with how many apprentices did Palpatine have? He had Maul, he had Dooku, and then he had Anakin, you know. So, I don't, I'm just sitting here, during this, but I really would like to see Mara as a kid learning how to be a Jedi. That would be interesting. It'd be really interesting then to see her as the twins grew up, as Anakin grew up. There's no reason why they can't use the name Anakin again. Anakin Solo. You know, you could, and then a soft handoff. A nice, soft handoff. Well, both of his hands. I mean, when Anakin got him, it's like, holy shit. I mean, that was an I mean this shit moment. Think about it. I don't know. I'm gonna wait till they decide what they want to do. I do think that they are, and I want to say something about the Daisy Ridley rumor. Big freaking robot put this thing out about Daisy Ridley and talks to rejoin Star Wars again. You know where it came from? Class, anybody want to raise their hands and tell me? Mike fucking Zero. The moment I realized that rumor was started by him, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. Yeah, Maul and Dooku overlapped a lot. You know? Oh, I mean, yeah. I'm like, are you kidding me? He had the crust to do that? Is he stoned? I'm serious. He was the one that said that. He was the one. Old redneck nerd KK doesn't have anything to say about it anymore. She really doesn't. I mean, she's getting PNG'd. So, you know, all she has is a name and has her name above a door, and that's it. She's probably involved with filming Indy 5. Indy 5, I've seen where they're going to be filming at a Scottish castle. And they're also going to be filming in Sicily. You know, so hey, House Atreides. So, oh, I know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe George will, it's his birthday. It's his birthday, so maybe he will. I don't know. I mean, that would be wonderful to see him come back and direct maybe the first episode of the Skywalker show, or something that's kind of like an aftermath thing of the after Return of the Jedi. This is a castle, and we have many tapestries. But if you are, but if you are a Scottish lord, then I am Mickey Mouse. Oh God, yeah. I mean, the irony is not lost. That was so funny. I mean, in Ford's Scottish accent, we're here to view the tapestries. I laugh so hard every time I see that. We were watching that one night, and my husband was just like, Ricky the Rat. No kidding, Nicole. My husband was laughing so hard at that. Now you see I've done and caught the sniffle. How dare he? Poof. He sneezed on him. I mean, my husband was laughing his ass off, and he was like, "I forgot how funny this movie is." And the scene where they're in the where they're in the motorcycle chase. I don't know if I've told you guys this, but I went to visit my brother who knew those guys. By the way, hey Max, and my mom and me, and we got to stay up in Marin Valley, not too far up in the valley, not too far away from Skywalker Ranch. In fact, we drove past it. I know it wasn't there. It's not there. It was on their Instagram though. Okay, and Pablo Hidalgo mentioned his birthday. Anyway, so we're driving past Skywalker Ranch, and I'm like, nose pressed to the glass. And my brother's like, I didn't know you were such a fan. And he's like, I could have had you up here, blah, 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 last year. I know you were still recovering from being sick, but you could have come up and you could have watched him film it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? No. You could have hung out. I'm like, I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. It was really cool to just be there because they filmed that part of the movie there. So the road is right there and you can see it, and it was really neat. I mean, it was, but that motorcycle chase, and at the end of it, Indy's grinning. He looks at his dad, and Sean Connery's just staring at him. And I'm laughing so hard I can't stand up. I mean, my husband is just cracked up. We could go look. We could go look there. I will later. But anyway, I just want to talk a little bit about what Cameron was saying because everything is now making sense. Alan Horn is leaving. Iger's leaving. KK's leaving. It gives them an excuse to find someone to fill in that spot if they actually really need someone beyond a name to be there. And I think if it's Favreau, what, 11 o'clock? If it's Favreau, I mean, and that's why Pablo's being nice now. That's why he's trying to be all, posting nice things. But meanwhile, he's got his private account where he's saying shit about everybody because he's a shit human being. You know, I would really think that in the end, he would realize that he'd worn out his welcome. What happens at 11 o'clock? That was so funny. Oh my God. I laughed so hard. And oh God, when they